Today's devotion is titled The List, Part 2. Yes, today is Part 2, and we are on day 305, and guess what? We are on November the 1st. That means we just have 2 more months left when we are walking through the Bible alphabetically in a year. And so today's morning rinse is Psalms 104 to 105. Just those 2 chapters. Now, the featured verse today is Psalm 105:1. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, call upon his name, make known his deeds among the peoples. So, if you have never experienced a testimony service, it is something that you'll need to put on your bucket list, something just that you will want to do. The church that my family attended for most of my childhood was this little church in Weston, Missouri, and every Sunday night the service consisted of about 15 to 20 minutes or so of testimonies where anybody in attendance could stand up right where they were sitting and just share with the rest of the attendees something good that happened to them or a testimony from the last week, because it was testimony time. And this was a miniature version of, where there would be like an entire service dedicated to testimonies, which I've been a part of that as well. And they're not as popular, so I haven't experienced an entire service for just testimonies very many times, but I have experienced it a few times, and it is powerful when we as God's children remember his works and his wonders and then share it with other people for encouragement, for building faith, for showing people what God's done in our own individual lives. You never know how that will affect other people. And when we seek him, it's really easy to see his handiwork all around us. Now, in part 1 of this 2-part devotion, we focused on the list of God's characteristics versus keeping a list of the wrongdoings of others. So if you have not seen part or listened to, if you listen in on a podcast, if you haven't listened or watched that first part, it's yesterday, which is October 31st. We're just starting a new month as part 2 of this. So you've got to watch or listen to yesterday's podcast episode, because it really shines light on the list of God's characteristics versus keeping a list of the wrongdoings of others. And now we are taking it just a step further and making a second type of list today. So today's featured verse encourages us to give thanks to God and to tell others the things that he has done. So let's read that featured verse again. It's Psalm 105:1. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, call upon his name, make known his deeds among the peoples. This is our second list, which is also it's our personal testimony list, if you will. And sometimes we have to be reminding ourselves of the blessings in our lives. And it's a matter of writing things down. And when we seek his face, we see his works, and those works are what we must remember. So today's challenge to dig deeper is, I want you to make a list of all the things God has done for you. You can pull out your declarations notebook and put it in your declarations notebook if you want, which is something that we did at the very beginning of October. The date, I believe, was October the 5th or 9th or something like that. I can't remember, but it was a declarations notebook. And that was one of the challenges, to make a 3-ring binder and put all of your declarations in there. And so you have this notebook already. You might as well just keep adding to it, right? And so today's challenge is to make a list of all the things that God has done for you. And my encouragement to you would be to try and fill up as many pages in a notebook or in a document as you possibly can. And once you've made the list, then I want you to tell at least one person something from the list today. And, sometimes we make it more challenging to tell others than what it really actually means. It's just part of our everyday conversation. So if you're having a conversation with a friend, or maybe the parents of your kids' friends, or maybe somebody at church, or whether it be or your kids or a family member, whomever, just in general, having some kind of conversation. We're always talking to people, right? Whether, even at work, we're always having conversations, with other people. And when I challenge you guys to tell at least one person something, and I've had this challenge several times throughout this, is to tell someone about your testimony or about what God's doing in your life. And same thing with today. Tell someone something from your list today. And it could be just as simple as you are so grateful for salvation, or you are so grateful about, getting a new job, or you're so grateful about some of the blessings that are in your life, or your child got healed, or you guys have been healthy, or whatever it is. In your conversation, you might have a conversation at the ball field, and you've got a child who's out on the field playing soccer, and you give God glory for keeping your son or daughter healthy so that they can play in the game that week despite being around all kinds of other people who are sick. Giving God glory in just little things like that are a part of telling someone something that God has done in our life. And if you have that list already made, it's already fresh on your mind. And if we look for opportunities to share, we will be given opportunities to share. If we look for opportunities to talk about God, we will be given those opportunities. So the question is, are you looking for those opportunities? Are you injecting faith based on your testimony every single opportunity that you can? Or are you afraid to say something because you don't want to offend somebody? That's not sharing. And so my encouragement to you today would be to make this list and then tell someone something that's on this list. And you never know how that's going to speak to their heart and how that's going to speak to their lives. And you never know who you will bring to salvation when you're sharing something of what God has done in your life. So when you're having your evening reflection tonight and you're pulling out your journal, and you're talking about what God has done for you, or you're having a conversation with God about your list, or however you do your journal, write down who you told today something about your list. Write down what you said, who you said it to, and how did that conversation go. Did it feel good to talk about his wondrous works? Were you able to interject even at the grocery store? Our pastor this morning in church was talking about his challenges sometimes that he faces, and he has a leg that is amputated, and in his midst of going out into the stores and being around people, or going on vacations even, and doing just normal things, he has opportunities to share what God has done in his life based upon the challenges that he has with an amputated leg. And so you never know how God is going to use your life and your challenges. And so my challenge to you, or my thoughts on the whole journaling, is, how did that conversation go? Did it feel good to talk about what he has done in your life? And again, we sometimes think that our sharing is going to affect other people, and while it does, it also builds our faith as well. And so write down, did it build your faith today to share something? Did it build your faith to read the list that you made that God has done for you? My guess is that it did. And I hope that as you are looking at this 2-part devotion, yesterday was making the list of all of God's characteristics and all of his benefits that he gives us. And today we're listing off those benefits. What are the things that he has used his characteristics for specifically for my life? And so I hope that this two-day little series, if you will, has encouraged you to continually strive forward, to continually share, to continually have faith, to continually look for all the good things that he has done in your life, because I know that he has done a lot of good things and in my life as well. So if you don't have my devotional, go ahead and check out the show notes that are in the link below, as well as if you're watching this on YouTube versus on a podcast platform, it will be in the description in the YouTube video. So until tomorrow, keep rinsing, reflecting, and repeating. God bless you.